Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods and the second episode of our massive Season 3 premiere.
Now in our first episode, we got our base car, we started work on the body kit, we got a new engine and even started turbocharging.
But there is still so much more to do before this little car is show ready. So come with us as the journey continues, because it's a magical journey, Martin.
In episode 1, our little Daihatsu arrived, which we'd bought for $500 from eBay. We removed the blown engine, started on the custom body kit, and our replacement engine arrived from Adelaide, which we gave a full service. We converted the car from auto to manual, and we made some custom fittings for our Subaru Turbo. We're making progress, but there's still a whole lot to do before the car's show ready.
With our engine installed, it was time to start buying parts. It's time to take these hoses and clamps and upgrade. It's a good idea to measure up all your fittings to make sure you get the right bits. Parts catalogues are not always accurate. We'd put together a list of the things we'd need to finish off our car. This included things like pod filters, heat wrap, clamps, hoses, stainless nuts and bolts, as well as specific turbo related parts.
Now what we really need is some awesome wheels, and the best wheels of course come from Japan. We landed in Japan and made our way to Up Garage, a massive performance used parts store, and we're on the hunt for wheels, which they've got lots of.
Okay, so we've been looking for some rims for our little show car, and we've just found some Rays versus Turismo. These are 20% off, around about $139 US. So it's going to be less than 150 Australian dollars for a whole set of 4.
We ended up paying around 10% of what we would have paid locally in Australia.
Buying wheels in Japan, I love it.
We've just come out of Up Garage, which is a massive used performance car parts shop in Japan. Now in there, they've got stereos, they've got exhaust, strut braces, everything you can imagine, and we just got an awesome set of wheels for our little show car. We're very excited.
I can't really explain that, but with a boot full of rims, we headed back towards the airport.
Buying JDM wheels is one thing. Making them fit on a car that comes with wheels 4 inches smaller in diameter is another. It's really important that the front wheels don't rub on the body when they're turned full lock. Some spacing out of the wheel would be required, as well as giving the inner wheel arches a little love with an angle grinder. By removing the small metal tabs that hold the inner guard liners in place, we could get full lock. With the front sorted, it's time to test fit the wheels to the rear.
It's been very busy. Tarek's been going crazy finishing our body kit.
We've done the front guards, almost finished. We've done the spacers, the wheels are perfect on the car. And just trying to blend it in to get the right ratios there, and we'll be done.
So that's it, man. 3 days till it gets painted.
A lot of late nights.
Yeah, some more body kitting to be done. We can safely say there's no bog in the tin because it's all in the car.
It's all shaved.
It's all been shaved off. There you go. So as you can see, our car's made a little bit of progress since you last saw it. Today it's all about fitting oil lines, fitting front mounts, getting exhaust sorted, and just anything else we can think of. Clutch in. Clutch in? Yep. Clutch in. Handbrake off. Handbrake off.
Sweet, engine's not turning, dude.
Man, what if I dump the clutch till it turn? Look at that, dude! We have a clutch!
That's wicked, man.
Our automatic car is now manual.
Clutch in?
Clutch in.
Yeah, wicked.
Dude, we have a manual car. No longer auto crapness.
Lock it up, dude.
With our clutch cable now installed and working, we were able to select gears and move the car without lifting it. The next step was getting the manual shifter in, which luckily bolts up in the exact same hole as the auto we just threw in the bin. After some aligning and the odd swear word, it was all in and working.
So you might be able to see this pube covered $2 coin. I don't know what's actually on it, but we also found a $1 coin as well, and that means this car only cost $497. It's a bargain. Not only that, now it's manual, thanks to Martin's greatness, Martin's power, Rake's ingenuity, my spiritual guidance, and Ben's stigness.
So basically just the cooler piping and the oil feed, and then we can start it.
So what's the ETA with those things? Are we talking today, a week, a month, 2012?
A week.
About a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing having an oil drain's really good, by the way. Because no oil drain means no turbo, means no boost, means no fun, means no front mount, means doesn't look cool.
We were using aluminium piping leftovers from other projects to connect up our front mount intercooler. Aluminium's easy to work with and lightweight. It requires some skill to weld, but luckily Marty's been practicing. Silicon joiners can be used where welding isn't possible, and some areas of the car were massaged with a grinder to ensure a good fit.
Burning the midnight oil, is that the expression? Yeah, burning the midnight oil to get this car finished. So it's me and Tarek. It takes a lot of trial and error to make a one-off body kit like this fit perfectly, and any imperfections would show up once painted. So we filled and grinded over and over until it was just right, and almost light. So I'm very proud of myself because I glued in a little metal patch that we're going to bog over so that the bumper bar is totally flush. And Tarek over there is blending in a side skirt, which is much more difficult, but I'm still proud. Check it out. Look at that. Metal, glue. Now there's a gap for the bog to go in. Bog. By the early hours, we were ready for a final fit-up. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning, the night before we're getting our paint done, making some last-minute final touches on our body kit, bogging, sanding, smoothing, all that stuff. Yeah, pretty wanged, but we're going to get there. It's going to be good. Can't wait till it's painted and the car's kind of taking shape.
The guys at Concept Paints heard about our project and offered us the use of their products and spray booth, as well as some help from their head technical guru, Paul.
Don't be scared. Are you scared?
Always scared.
Paul's painted more cars than he can count, but he'd never seen anything quite like our little Daihatsu. This is going to take Marty, Rake and Ben 3 solid days of work.
We're in. It begins.
With any paint job, the first step is to strip the car back as much as possible. We wouldn't be painting the inside, so that makes things a little easier. Paul got to work further shaping our body kit while we stripped off everything we could. The bumpers, door handles, door locks, and even the rear windows get removed. Our body kit was attracting some attention, and it wasn't even on the car yet. The body kit and the old paint is sanded back with 400 grit on an air sander, which saves a heap of time and elbow juice, while the fine details are done by hand.
There was no bog, so they went into the factory just over there and made us some bog fresh.
Taking the headliner out so we can take the antenna off the roof.
We're burning through the paper at a rate of knots, but the body was well on its way. It's easy to rush this prep stage, but the quality of the end result is directly proportional to the effort spent preparing the car.
Day one, finished. We've prepped the car, we've bogged it, only a little bit of bog though, not much. Shut up. And yeah, tomorrow we're going to be filling it, we're going to be priming it, and then day 3 we're going to paint it. It's going to be awesome.
We arrived bright and early to continue on the final prep of the bodywork. We still had quite a bit of work to do before the primer could be applied, so we continued shaping our body kit while the relatively straight car was prepared for the primer. We removed our show wheels in favour of some sacrificial stockies and set about masking up the top half of the car, which wouldn't require primer. While the primer was prepared under the watchful eye of master painter Paul, it was my turn to suit up and hit the booth. The catalyst or hardener in 2-pack paint is poisonous if ingested through your lungs or even through your skin, so a full bodysuit with fresh air supply is worn when painting. A coat of primer is applied and the booth temperature raised up to 50 degrees to speed up the drying process. Humidity is also closely controlled, which gives you a great finish. With the primer on, it was finally possible to get an idea of what it would look like when it was finished. Tiny air bubbles in the paint are filled with a fine filler and sanded back. While the car was baking in the booth, it was time to go and choose our colour.
Well, firstly, the car's originally green. Yep. And because we don't want to, take the whole thing back to bare metal and have the junction be the same. So we're aiming for a similar colour green. Whether it's in your system, I don't know, but we can probably have a look. And then, as Tony was saying with custom, if there's a way to just, make it sparkle a bit with a bit of metal in there.
That's no problem. That's no problem.
You notice it when it catches the light, is that when you kind of
Yeah. So, okay, now that's the formula for that.
Yep.
This is a green tone pearl, but we can change that and put a green ceramic in it.
Right, which will make it, you're saying that'll make it more sparkly.
Yeah, it'll make it more sparkly. We can change that, Ali. I'll make 100 mils of it and change those to ceramic and to, of course, spray it out, clear it, and then put it in the oven for 20 minutes and you can have a look at it.
So right now John's mixing up a sample pot so we can spray it onto a little metal tag, bake it and check what it looks like before we put it on the car.
We'd come across Concept's no-mix system when we were fixing Moog's drifting damage. It's a system that doesn't require stirring and you can get it at any auto barn. We'd mixed it ourselves in the past, but now we had the master at work. The paint is mixed up by weight and John added his very own custom touches and made us up this sample card. There was still much to do before our new paint would be anywhere near our car.
So John's just brought us down our colour. The best way to check it is in the sunlight. Check it out. Look at that. That's way sparkly. That's pretty show spec, right? Yeah, everyone's nodding. I think so.
Beautiful. But in the light, especially in shows and that, the lights hit it, it's just going to hit you in the face with the colour and the bells and everything.
So once the lights are on, it'll reflect all
It reflects it all off and there's picture is beautiful.
Okay.
Exactly what you want, especially if someone takes a photo.
Yeah,
because you get that different shine off the flash.
Getting a smooth as glass finish requires blocking or sanding the car by hand with a fine grade sandpaper, in this case wet rubbing with 800 grit. We headed into the booth to apply plastic adhesion agent and primer to our bumpers and the body kit. The pressure was on to finish the car in the one day we had left.
You put a run in my side skirt, dude.
What are you going to do about it?
We can,
Top in that one.
yeah, lucky it's in the high fillet.
That's alright.
Alright, so beginning of day 3. Today we're going to prime, we're going to do the top coat. There's no time for talking, there's just time for painting. It's all about guards, dude.
It's all about it, man. Gotta get them flat.
And it's all about bonnet for me.
Bonnet, you're all over the bonnet, dude.
Thank you.
We still had to wet sand the entire car before we could apply our colour. Any holes left in the primer were filled and our last coat of primer mixed up. Rake headed into the booth to apply it while Paul, Ben and I cleaned every inch of the little beast. And the car. The car is then rubbed down with Prepsol, which will remove any wax or grease left over, because even fingerprints can ruin the final result.
So we're up to masking off the car. It's the last step before we take it in the booth and shoot all the colour onto it. Masking is pretty important. We're doing it double in some areas because the air pressure from the gun will actually push the paper in and you'll fill your car full of paint, or worse, you'll get dust out of the car and on the paint job.
Beautiful.
Next, it was time to apply our colour, or base coat, which then has to be sealed with a clear coat, which is what protects the paint and makes it shiny. Reducer thins the paint to make it spray out of the gun evenly. It evaporates off, leaving the paint on the car.
A couple more coats on a base coat and then clear it. Finish putting down the base coat. We're going to use Concept MS22 Clear, which is a 2-to-1 product. 2 coats, medium to wet coats, ready to go. Done.
The results from just 2 coats of clear is amazing.
Paul, thanks. The car looks amazing. I love it. I think they love it.
Yeah, man. Very happy. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure working with you. It's
That's it. So we'll see you at the show.
Definitely will.
Man, it's done.
Next time on Mighty Car Mods.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, so comfortable.